Hey, I'm Mike from Intercom. I'm the lead engineer on the Messenger Apps framework, and I'm going to be talking you through what you can build on the framework and a little bit of the engineering details of how it works. So you can use our framework to build rich apps that are pieces of UI surfaced to Intercom customers right there in the Messenger. Now, you can use this to cater for use cases like booking a meeting directly through the Messenger, paying for a subscription through Stripe, or even registering for a webinar and getting added to a mailing list. Now let's talk a little bit about the engineering details of exactly how that works. So the three main types of webhooks that we send you in the course of the card's lifecycle are the configure, initialize card, and submit card webhooks. What each one of these do? Well, roughly speaking, the configure webhook is what we send to you at the time when a card is being inserted into a conversation. That gives you some information about who's inserting it where, and you can send us back whatever options are specific to that admin or that situation based on your own logic. Then the initialize card webhook is called when we're actually creating the UI for that card and inserting it into a conversation. So at that point, we'll send you over whatever card options you've set previously, and also some extra information about where the card is being inserted. And you'll send us back a canvas. A canvas in our system is just a name for a JSON blob that describes how a card should look at any point in time. That's stitched together out of a bunch of components like buttons and text and images, which you can read more about in the docs. And once you send us back that canvas, we will create the card, put it into the conversation or into the home screen, whichever context you're working in, and then it's visible to end users and website visitors. So the next stage of this is when an end user or website visitor interacts with the card. For instance, if they click on a specific button or fill in a form field or a text field on the card. Now at that point, you'll often want to take some sort of action and update the UI of the card. That's where the submit card webhook comes in. So this fires in response to any action that an end user or website visitor takes on your card. We notify you about that action. You can take whatever side effects you want in response to that, record some state, perhaps book a meeting, whatever makes sense for your app. And again, just like with the initialize card webhook beforehand, you send us back a canvas that tells us what should the card look like now. And we'll update the cards to match whatever canvas you send us back. So we actually expect that the submit card webhook is often called multiple times for a single card as the card moves through several stages of your app's lifecycle. For instance, you might first want your user to express interest in a webinar, which will fire a submit card webhook. Then the next step of your card might involve selecting a slot, and then the third step might involve confirming that. And that would be 3 separate submit card webhooks that we would fire, and each time you would send us back a canvas that describes the next stage the card should go through. So what we have so far with the initialize card and submit card webhooks is enough for most purposes and for most apps to get a really nice user experience. But if you need to gather more information from your agents when they are adding cards into conversations, for instance, if you want each agent to select the length of a meeting that's going to be booked in Google Calendar, or as we've done in our Google Calendar app, be able to select which of their teammates the meeting should be booked with, you can actually do that as well. So that's where we come back to the configure webhook. If you want to show some configuration UI to the agents while they're inserting the cards, you can do that by returning a canvas from this webhook instead of a set of card options. And what this will do is it will show the UI that canvas represents to the customer support agent, and they'll be able to fill in form fields on that, much like an end user could with a canvas and a card. Then at the end, that'll be submitted back to the configure webhook, and you can take those form fields, turn them into card options, and they'll be passed on to the initialize card step. Another feature of the apps framework that we haven't mentioned so far is called Sheets. So Sheets give you the ability to take over the whole area of the Intercom Messenger and use it as your own app's UI. Now, how this works is that we essentially give you an iframe, which loads a web page specific to your app, and you can do whatever logic you want in there. This will only be triggered if a user interacts with your card, but if they do, it allows you to have a rich, full Messenger experience through which you can use functionality that wouldn't fit into this framework ordinarily. For instance, Aircall have used this feature of the Messenger Apps framework to build a phone call app that allows you to place phone calls to a customer support agent straight through the Intercom Messenger. So as you can see, this is a really powerful extension that you're able to build on top of the apps framework. It involves doing a little bit of extra work on building your own custom page that generally has custom JavaScript on there, but that allows you to take over the full power of the Messenger.